Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. This is going to be fun today, no doubt about that. All right, we've just got a few people that showed up so far, so let's go ahead and dive in. Let's start with something good that's happened over the course of the last week for you. Just tell me something good. Give me some energy, guys. I love when you guys are winning, so let me hear about it. Did you set an appointment? Did you get a referral? Did you take a listing? Did you sign a buyer agency agreement? Get a property under contract, in escrow or pending? Talk to me, gang. Tell me something good. All right. Well, just remember what we focus on expands, no doubt about that. So think of something good. When you think of something, just share it with the group. Let's give each other some energy and let's focus on positive things so we get more positive things in our life. I mean, focus on the complaining, focus on blaming, focus on the problem. Well, you get more problems. Am I right? Focus on things that you should be grateful for. Guys, you're going to get abundantly more things to be grateful for. There's no doubt about that. So welcome. I see Joey Satariano just joined us. We got a couple of others. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Joey, how you doing, bud?
Oh, buddy, I'm on fire. I'm feeling good. Can't wait to hear, just be part of some masters at their work. Sean Kokoschka said every time he master's first step is we are once a disaster. So I'm still working through it.
That's exactly right. Every master was once a disaster, Joey.
That's what
My
it is.
favorite
That's what
quote.
it is. That's what it is.
Man, I love it. I love it. Love it. All right, gang. Today I want to talk to you about buyer agency and getting that contract signed with all the lawsuits and all the issues going on as it relates to disclosure of how fees are paid and making sure that you get paid. See, sellers are now abundantly clear and aware that they don't have to pay a buyer agent co-op commission. They just don't have to. So if you haven't already, you're going to start seeing listings popping up with a zero co-op commission. And if you're not protecting yourself and the time that you've invested representing these buyers, chances are you're not going to get paid. I mean, are you kidding me? The seller's unwilling to pay the buyer agent fee, so you get to go to the buyer and justify your fee. Now, this is interesting to me, and I'm going to ramble just for a little bit, okay? It's interesting to me because most agents who get into real estate, well, they gravitate toward the buyer side of the business. Why do you think that happens? Talk to me. Why do they gravitate to the buyer side of the business?
I guess we all think it's easier.
It's easier, yeah. In what way? Talk to me.
We don't have to chase the seller. Someone is always looking to buy.
Okay. So you don't have to go out and proactively lead generate to identify those seller leads. So getting buyer leads, that is simple. Anybody can do that, guys. All you have to do is advertise houses. Doesn't even have to be your listing. Just advertise it on your social media through your email campaigns. And you're going to generate people who want to buy a property. Any other thoughts? Why does a realtor generally gravitate toward the buyer side of the business at first?
Requires less skill.
Talk to me more, Joey.
Well, just, buyers, I believe buyers have more of a tolerance for less skill and more errors, right? Where a seller doesn't have any tolerance for error, It's
Right.
just
And,
you
and let's get to the core of the issue. Why do you think that is? Why does the seller not have the tolerance that a buyer does?
I think as they're paying for it, possibly.
That's exactly right.
I'm
I
like,
mean, think about it. Guys, think about this. When you work the buyer side of the business, generally speaking, it's always a happy phone call, right? Hey, Joey, I got a new listing, just hit the market, man. It looks perfect for you. When can we get to go see it? And the buyer gets all excited, the agent is all excited, and it's a happy, kind of a fun interaction. Now imagine calling the seller and saying, hey, you know that price I told you we could fetch in today's open market? Market's rejecting the price. You've got to improve your price, and you need to do it right now. See, generally speaking, there are more uncomfortable conversations on the seller side of the fence. And so many times we're afraid to risk our precious little egos. And yet the more you risk your ego, the bigger your bank account balance gets. No doubt about that. Also on the buyer side of the fence, you in the past have not had to charge your fee. The listing agent, the seller pays that through the co-op agent commission. So not only is it always a happy phone call, you don't have to have the uncomfortable conversation about what you're going to charge them to help them buy a house. So most people, they gravitate toward the buyer side of the fence. I want to hear from some of you today who have made that mental shift to shift from the buyer side of the fence. And yes, maybe you still work a few buyers, yet you're more listing driven, more listing focused. And when did that change occur within your mindset? Was it within the first month, the first year? Was it 10 years down the road before you shifted your mindset? Talk to me, guys.
I shifted my mindset when I realized that like all my buyer's offer was getting rejected. I was getting outbid. So I said, maybe if I have the listing, if I control the listing, then I could just sit back and do the same.
Roger, I love it. I love it. I'm going to give you, by the way, just a tip. A little trick of the trade, if you will. Do you know how to win in the multiple offer situation each and every time? Be the listing agent. Be the listing agent. The listing agent always wins in a multiple offer situation. You understand this, right? Let's get to the why behind my conversation with you today. Why do I think it's important that you start diverting your attention, your focus to the listing side of the business? See, if you want to last in this business, gang, you've got to list in this business. Listings are leverage, okay? Anytime you can put your sign in front of somebody's house, put it in MLS, every realtor in your local board and MLS has now joined your team to get this listing sold for you. You could literally go sit on a beach somewhere and still make money because you've got a listing. Now, if you're only working the buyer side of the fence, if you take a day off, if you take a vacation, chances are you're not going to make too much money while you're gone, right? So I want to get hyper focused on listing lead generation. And those, higher producers on this call with me today, like Linda Hedrick and Joey Satariano and others that are taking listing after listing, I want to find out what's working in today's market for you. As it relates to lead generation for listings, is it for sale by owners? Is it expireds? Are you circle prospecting? Are you just really babysitting and nurturing that sphere of influence to make sure when they think real estate, they think you? Are you asking for referrals? Are you doing direct mail? Are you teleprospecting? I mean, door knocking. There are thousands of things you could do to generate your next listing. Yet I want to talk about what you should do. And I think success leaves clues. So think about your last 2 or 3 listings, where'd they come from? Linda, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. Where'd your last 2 or 3 listings come from? Linda Hedrick, can you hear me? Where'd your last 2 or 3 listings come from?
She's muted. You're unmute, Linda.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I've had 2 closings already in January. One was a repeat. I met the guy, actually his mother years ago, but he was 2 when I met him, and him and his wife bought a home 4.5 years ago, and just following up, staying in touch with people. He said, yeah, we're moving to Greeley. So I listed the home. It was under contract with actually a buyer I had that was looking for exactly what he had. So I had both sides of that. We just closed on it last week. And then another one, I was just lead generating again from a past client that I've worked with for 10 years. I think it was a 3rd or 4th transaction, and something had gone off the market. And I tracked down the seller in Colorado Springs, and he said, yep, I'm still wanting to sell it. So I ended up having both sides of that one, and that closed also last week.
Wow. So 4 sides in the last, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Linda. You know what that is?
That's a win.
That's
Actually,
winning,
I am very extremely motivated because somebody called me when I was farming a neighborhood that I love. I'm heading over there after this call to door knock, but they had a card from a previous company I was with. So I spent 20 minutes on the phone, did a pre-list analysis, and then they realized that I wasn't at that company anymore. They said they had to work with that company and they weren't open to discussion. So they just motivated me to go out there, and I'm going to be determined. I have my afternoon opened for 3 hours, and I'm going to door knock. My goal is to get a listing when I'm over there.
Way to go, Linda. So it's that listing focus, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And many of you just want to follow up the buyer leads because it's the path of least resistance. Yet at the same time, listings are leverage. In fact, through my seat of the pants experience, I don't have any documented proof of this. I would say for every 1 hour you invest in a listing, it takes you 10 hours to work with the buyer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got our system down to where I would invest, maybe 35 minutes, not including going to the closing, because I always went to my own closing. Some people say that was egotistical, yet I just wanted that last impression, right? I wanted to be able to make sure that this deal closed smoothly. Nothing better than collecting your commission check right at the closing table. If you're in a state that allows you to table fund, that feels good too. So 35 minutes was my time invested in a listing, yet working a buyer, think about it. I mean, you've got the initial phone call, you've got the initial counseling session, preparing and then signing the buyer agency agreement, taking them out, showing them all of the homes. Maybe it took you a Saturday, they didn't like any of them. So you go out the next weekend, you showed them 7 other properties, they didn't like any of them. Take them out the next weekend, you narrow it down to the one they want to buy, then you get to write and negotiate the contract. Then you got the inspection issues, mortgage company, title company, it just takes 10 times longer to close on the buy side of the fence. So today I just wanted to make our focus on listing lead generation. Now, the low-hanging fruit is always going to be your sphere of influence. These are the people who know you, like you, and trust you. And when you communicate with them systematically, you're going to get a consistent and predictable result within your business. A constant, steady flow of leads that you can just pick off the vine. You don't even need a ladder. Yet I also want to talk a little bit about climbing up the ladder. Let's go to the higher hanging fruit. What does that look like? Is it for sale by owners? If so, I'd encourage you to go to iconcoaching.com, go to the resources tab, download all of our free for sale by owner scripts and objection handlers. Is it expired listings in your market area? You might consider downloading the 3 different lead-in scripts I get you to set the appointment, and then the 5 common objections that expired listings will give you. We give you all the rebuttals. It's all transcribed. All you have to do is practice it, rehearse it. Because when you know what to say, how to say it, and you say it to enough people, gang, then you're going to double your production in 2024 at least. I've seen people quadruple their production simply by making a conscious effort to master their craft, to know what to say, to know how to say it, then time blocking their schedule, staying focused during the time block to say it to enough people. Right? Simply put, if you want more appointments, and I know you do, all you need to do is create more conversations. So I've got a client that I just started working with about a month ago. I introduced them to the DeLuca mailer is what I call it, because I learned it from a guy named Rick DeLuca back in the early 90s. And man, we did this religiously. The 3rd Thursday of every month, we sent a direct mail piece to everybody in the sphere of influence, advertising the needs of our buyers. So guys, if you're not doing that, and Cindy, I'm going to pull up your document that you shared with me because I shared this idea with you. And you sent me a really crystal clear, clean version of the DeLuca mailer. Let me pull that up and I'm going to share it with the group. Here we go. All right, it's just searching for it now. Sorry, it's taking a second. There it is. All right, bear with me and thanks for your patience, guys. As I wait for this computer to build this thing up, I'm going to throw it over to this screen here and I'll share that screen just momentarily. All right, some of you have seen this before. And I don't care if you've seen it before. My question is, have you implemented it? Are you doing it? You see my screen there? Gang, this is so simple. You can do it on social media. You can do it through email. You can post it to LinkedIn, and you can also do a direct mail if you choose. So do you know of homes for these buyers? I'm currently showing properties to the following buyers, and then you list all the buyers you're working with. What are their needs? You advertise this to your sphere of influence. See, buyers call on houses. Sellers call on buyers. We get that. So if you know someone who wants to sell a house that meets the needs of any of my buyers, please call me, and you can see Sandy's phone number is the largest thing on the page. By the way, if you have a referral for Sandy's area in California, there's her phone number. Give her a call. I'd love to see the synergy. All right, so Sandy, you'd done this a few times. I took on a new client about a month ago. I introduced them to this. They immediately implemented it, and they reported back to me last week that they got 2 listing appointments by sending out this mailer. Okay, this is attraction at its best. You become a magnet for seller leads when you advertise the needs of your buyers. So if you haven't installed that in your current strategy, I would strongly encourage you to do that. Now I want to hear from you guys. Remember, this is a mastermind, yes, which means that we all participate and we focus on adding value to one another because, all of us are smarter than one of us. There's no doubt about that. And I think we can have an opportunity here to learn from each other. So who has an idea for listing lead generation that they'd like to share with the audience?
So I do. So I've kind of taken a different approach because a few years ago, I decided to take my business into a niche market where I'm dealing with probates, trust, seniors, and divorce. So I've been wanting to implement a seminar. I have a seminar that's happening this Saturday. I have 100 people signed up to come.
Way to go, Sandy.
So I'm really excited to see where it's going to go and what's going to happen with it. I'm going to be doing a financial analysis class afterwards. So I'm going to try and work on 2 other seminars after this, and one being a home buying seminar for seniors and like the people that want to downsize for that perfect avatar there of who I'm wanting to deal with.
Yes.
And
let me say something real quick, Sandy. She's not doing a first-time homebuyer seminar.
Correct.
In this. So guys, if you advertise a first-time homebuyer seminar, you're going to attract first-time homebuyers. And first-time homebuyers can be a pain in the ass. Let's be honest.
Yes, they can.
I mean, they take 10 times as long. They're nervous. They're anxious. They're timid. And yes, they'll eventually turn into a listing for you 5 to 7 years down the road. Yet the bottom line is they're generally the bottom of the barrel, meaning it's that first time buyer price range. I mean, you think about, okay, what is the median sales price in your market area? It's probably 30 or 50,000 below the median sales price. So, and by the way, a first time buyer, they take just as long to close as a $3 million buyer. You understand? Probably.
And not only that, Sean, the people that I'm dealing with, they have to make all of these people normally are going to have to make some sort of change. They have to sell, right? So that, and they have the equity, they have the ability to do that, not like a first time home buyer. They don't know what they don't know, but some of these people that I'm dealing with, that I'm focused on, changes are bound to happen. They can be a little bit more challenging. However, having 100 people come to this estate planning seminar is really huge to be able to have a captive audience. I'll spend 2 hours talking to 100 people. I have 79 emails. I don't have the phone numbers, but I'll be able to connect with those people, and they will be searching me out after the event.
That's right. That's
as
right.
well,
So
which
how
is
did you
huge.
promote it, Sandy? What'd you do?
So I went with my church, and they're the ones that's giving me the facility. You know, we're holding the event in the sanctuary. They have almost 600 spaces to be able to sit there. So they sent out their email blast to 1,000 of the congregation. So if nothing else, my name has gotten out there. And then and I've had people call me and say, this is so important, I need to do this. And they're older, and they're going to be making a change. They're going to be making a change. So that's how I've done that. And then I've done social media videos. One of the things that I've done is, when you're doing a social media video, I've heard this from another group in financial services. And what they said is, use your hand movements. That gets people's attention. I did the first video. I got 5 people to sign up for the seminar. And I don't know if it's for the hand movements or what, but I was doing like hand stuff and just doing a little bit out of the ordinary. But I'm a little bit crazy to begin with. Maybe people aren't that crazy, but it did work. That 5 people signed up. So, and I've had people reach out to me from high school that were saying, I need to do this, and just things change. And then they're going to refer me, because I'm coming from an area of contribution. I'm not saying, let me list your house.
I love it. Sandy, you are spot on. You're coming from contribution, and the walls that separate you, they just melt away, don't they?
Yes.
They just melt away when you come from contribution.
Mm-hmm.
You're offering something that they need. Now, let me rewind the tape just a little bit here, Sandy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you signed up with for lack of a better term, a trust provider, like an attorney outfit that actually puts these trusts together for the individuals you bring to them, correct?
Correct.
And you get paid when they sign up to have their trust created, correct?
Correct.
Fantastic. And they help you promote this event. So let's go back to event promotion. So you shot a few videos, you posted to social. Do you have your attorney firm, your mortgage company, title company, home inspector, anybody helping you promote the event?
Not as much as I'd like, more just the church. And I think because it's in that church setting, it's not more business minded. You have to be very mindful of where you're holding these events at, and churches can't go, oh, you're wanting just to build your business, right? This has to really come from an area of contribution. So I haven't done all of those that I'm supposed to do, like in that manner, like you taught me in the past, but I figured this is a good place for me to start. If I skin my knees a little, that's okay. I'll just get up and just brush them off, and I know it's going to build momentum. And so from that, I'm just getting the interest has been amazing. So once I do get that going, where I am having other people, because the attorneys that I deal with them on Zoom. So what I do with the clients, I tell them that they can come to me. I do a half an hour free consultation with them. I do a home evaluation for their property, so they know where they're at, kind of talk to them about the pitfalls that I see doing the probate and trust sales and things that they need to think about. So now guess what? I've just gained a great relationship with these people. And I also tell them if they'd like to put me in their trust to sell their homes, so they know that I know what what they want and their goals are, to put me in the trust to be the realtor to sell their homes. So, there's just different ways to go about it. And it's really hard. I have one lady who has $10 million in property, 32 properties, and she's very untrusting. She doesn't trust anybody, but she's opened up to me, and I think I know more about it than so we're going to be probably selling about 16 of her homes here coming up, but she's got to do a little bit at a time. But again, it's just that area of contribution and gaining that trust, and by me going in and just talking to them about what the attorneys will need, so they have a little bit more of an idea, especially where usually the most value in their asset of their estate is their home.
Yes. Yes. So helping them build their trust builds your trust.
Absolutely.
I love it. So she's going in through a side door. She's coming from contribution, helping people do something they know they need to do. And then could you imagine signing a contract, saying that you would sign a contract, a listing contract?
Yeah. Yeah.
When the time is right. Way to go, Sandy. I think it's brilliant. It's a beautiful niche. And
well, and I think we have to look at because I try to be somebody like you, Sean, and I'm not you, right? So I'm me, I'm Sandy. I have to come from where I'm real and where I'm a care provider. I've been a care provider when I was younger. And so I have that heart, not that Sean doesn't have the heart, but I just have that heart more of, it didn't mean it like that, Sean, but where I'm at, I'm just, not that I can't be that big person, but I need to start where I feel the most comfortable, and that's helping people. And this is helping people, and they can really see my heart, and they're thankful. They're so thankful when they're talking to me, which is, if they're grateful and thankful, they're going to spread my name.
Way to go, Sandy. That is winning. And I love it.
And you have a huge heart, Sean. I love you. So that was not your side there, but yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So other ideas for listing lead generation. How many of you guys are signed up with HomeLight? It's free. They do all the advertising for you. And yes, you get to pay a 35% referral fee, yet oftentimes 65% of a loaf of bread is better than no bread at all. It's free. Just go to homelight.com. Just do a Google search. You'll find it. Sign up. How about OpCity? Anybody on OpCity? Guys, it's free. I see an agent who's struggling and they're not signing up for these free online lead generation things. I'm thinking, what are you doing? You've got to engage every modality you possibly can to get those leads coming into you. And then you focus on lead conversion, lead follow-up. And you've heard it said a million ways before. The fortune is in the follow-up. No doubt about that. So that leads me kind of the technology side of things. Do you know how to use your CRM tool? I mean, seriously, do you know how to use it? Do you know how to segment your list, tag your prospects, tag your clients, past clients? Do you know how to put in their special interests so that once a month you can go in and do a quick search on Google for an interesting article, or maybe a coupon for something like snow skiing or tennis lessons or golf lessons or something like that, to where you could once a month just hit them based on their interests? This is one thing I learned early on in my career. We had an evaluation form that we would have the customers complete at the closing table. So we just sent it to the title company, because we were title state, right? A title company state. And the closer had it in their packet, and they would push it over to the buyer and say, could you please complete the survey? Or if it was our seller, push it over to the seller. Can you please complete the survey? It's an evaluation form. How did the Kokoska Group do for you? Now, at the bottom of this, we outlined 15 different hobbies that people could or should have. Things like gardening, cooking, wine tasting, snow skiing, water skiing, golf, tennis, all kinds of things that they could just simply check the box. Now, once they completed the evaluation of our service form, then our client care manager would take it and they would tag them in the CRM with those special interests. And then once per month, they would go in and they would just find a coupon, they would find an article, something that had to do with their special interests. Let's say they like tennis. Well, there's a tennis tournament at the Denver Country Club on August 15th at 2 p.m. I came across this and I thought of you. And because they said they were interested in tennis, it made it feel more customized, right? Now, it was hands off for me. I didn't do a darn thing other than make sure that the evaluation form was completed at the closing table. And yet you could start that. You could have started that when you started your real estate career. No doubt about that. Here's the good news. You can start it today. You can start doing that today to start understanding the special interests, the hobbies of your avatar. I mean, all they had to do was go in and do 15 different searches, find something cool about each category, whether it was gardening or snow skiing or whatever the case was, and then send them that article. Just do a quick query search. It automatically pulled in their first name, and they just blast out the email. Hey, came across this discount for lift tickets up in Vail, Colorado, and I know you love snow skiing. I know your family loves snow skiing, and I thought of you guys when I came across this discount coupon code. Click below to find the information. By the way, if you have any need, whether it's buying, selling, or investing in real estate, please make sure I'm front of mind. Reach out to me directly. And just by engaging with them based on their special interests, guys, we did a ton of deals as a direct result of that. It helps you position yourself in their mind. I think you would agree. All right. We've got about 90 seconds left. Give me one more idea. What are you doing to generate listings right now? Okay, I'll give you another one. Good friend of mine, Colette McDonald. She said, Sean, I don't have the tenacity or the work ethic to call 10 people a day. I just really don't. And I said, well, I appreciate the honesty, Colette. And she said, you know, I just make so much through revenue share at EXP. My team is producing at a very high level. So here's what I do. I commit to 10 text messages every day. Now, I'm not trying to let you off the hook. Okay, please don't take this the wrong way. I think every agent should make a minimum of 10 live conversations happen every day that they work. Okay, that should be your number one priority. Yet in Colette's case, what she does is she just scrolls through her phone and she finds a contact. Maybe it's a past client, maybe it's a friend, a family member, and she'll just send a text that she's already typed into her notes. So she just goes to her notes, copy, paste, send, and she, of course, she adds the first name of the person. So, hey, John, I was driving through your neighborhood the other day and I thought of you. Can you believe what property values have done in your neighborhood with a question mark? Send. And what that does is it engages them. You understand? It engages them. I have another client who does his annual home equity report for each of his clients. And so he sends them a text broadcast with his scheduling link stating it's time for your annual equity analysis. Please click my scheduling link to self-identify a time that we can have a 15-minute conversation. So they click the scheduling link, they see his availability. Oh, okay, I want to meet him Tuesday at 2 o'clock. They put in their contact details. He gets a text message, he's got another appointment to talk about somebody's home equity. And it's, of course, you can imagine where that conversation goes. So imagine if you did sell, where would you move next? What's important to you about accomplishing that? And in a perfect world, in an ideal world, when would that be? As you'll identify many nurture candidates by just grabbing that simple approach, a text broadcast, whether it's through KV Core, easytexting.com, or even slicktext.com. They can all do text broadcast for you. Build your scheduling link through Calendly, Acuity, or Schedule Once. Insert that into the text body and blast out your text message. It's time for your annual home equity report. Click below to self-schedule a 15-minute call with me. I'll pull the comps. I'll tell you exactly what your home will fetch in today's market and how much you would net if you did in fact sell. Most people would carve out 15 minutes for that kind of a conversation. I think you would agree. NAR will tell you 1 in 6 homeowners is contemplating selling their house right now. Might not be today, might not be this year, yet they're talking about it. When my wife and I sold our previous home here in Austin, Texas, and we talked about it for 3 years before we pulled the trigger. And yet if I'd received a text from a realtor saying that they were going to help me analyze the equity I have in my home, I might just say yes, if I didn't have realtor relationships, obviously. So guys, with that said, I just want to motivate and inspire you this week to get out there and get focused on listing lead generation. Okay, it's going to change your life. It's going to change your business for the better, because most of those sellers, guess what? They're going to buy. So you get 2 deals out of 1. If you double end the listing, you get 3 deals out of 1. So take advantage while you can. No doubt about that. Get after those listings this week, you guys. Until we talk again next week, just be on purpose, be productive, be powerful. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.